it's a pleasure being in Madrid, especially on this location. I think it's quite unique. After we all have been locked down, so it's great to travel again. So who I am, I'm from Holland, originally from Amsterdam, from an Amsterdam family, small family. I'm very business driven, very business oriented. I'm a family man, I have 2 kids. I'm very human driven. I really prefer to take the best out of the people in my team instead of focusing on the things they cannot do, and really motivate that. So I really like to work with people. I really enjoy that. I like challenges. So the COVID-19 is a big challenge, but I really see it as a huge opportunity also. I have high energy, I think. I'm a little bit impatient. Almost a kid. I was still young. I was 20 years young, so very young. And I did an internship at a distributor in Holland. And funny enough, this distributor was selling Zenith, Frederique, and in that time Camel and Benetton. And I directly was attracted to the craftsmanship behind the watchmaking. Very detailed. I loved the product, and I never let it go anymore. So that's it. That's where my passion started. Mostly business development. I did for Swatch Group. I worked for 11 years for several brands. And I learned really exclusive distribution, setting up distribution. I learned a lot how not to do things within that group. Not before I started to work for the distributor in Holland. That really opened my eyes on the pureness of a watch, but also really the craftsmanship, the handmade, the detail, the eye for detail. That was really for me the first touch with a watch. I was a citizen.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, a Japanese brand that they took us over. They are now the shareholders of our company for almost 5 years now. But that was my first brand. I still have the watch, and I was 14 years old. By far, my kids and my wife. It's by far my biggest passion. Then if you go to much more passionate things, I love the boating. We live close to the Lac aan Zee, where we have a boat and where we can really enjoy the water and the lake and the outside atmosphere. And of course cars. What else? We met actually in Basel. I was working for another brand, and he was looking at my brand in that time. And I went outside. I said, "Hey, I know you. What are you doing here?" And he was like, "Oh shit, a Dutch guy." And we started to talk Dutch, and we had directly a connection. He was with Aletta, very open, very open-minded, very transparent in our discussion. How we are in Holland, we are very transparent. But I really was intrigued about his vision and about his direction. And I think I went back to my home on a ski holiday, and I told my wife once, if I have an opportunity to work in the watch industry in Switzerland, I think we should go. And we were in the car, and Peter called me. Niels, we have met, and I think we had a very nice connection. I would like to ask you for an interview in Switzerland, to work in Switzerland. And my wife was sitting on the intercom, on the car kit, next to me, and she turned white because she felt already like shit. There was no way back probably. And then we talked to each other. We had several discussions in Geneva, and he really showed the direction for the coming 5 years, where he wanted to go with the brand. And for me it was love on first sight. I've been rolling into this challenge quite strongly. I've been taking over a lot of P&Ls for subsidiaries we have. We have like 10 entities. Was managing that. Then certainly Peter sold the company as the founder, and he really told me, Niels, I think it's also time for a younger generation now to step up. we are very aligned. I really like to work with you, but I would like to ask you to take over. So that process started also with Citizen. We requested at the board of directors and the shareholders, and then they appointed me. And then I started to realize what it means. But it's a lot of responsibility. You have the responsibility of the people, the families behind the people. But you also have a huge opportunity to work with a beautiful brand. And I love it. I think the biggest challenge we have as a watch industry is a challenging retail landscape, a challenging market situation. The whole industry is already in a very difficult situation due to the incoming smartwatch technology. So we were already in a very challenging period with the whole industry. Now COVID-19 came on top of that. So I think it's really being very close to your consumer, understand what your consumer needs. So the industry is very conservative. They always produce and then they expect the consumer will purchase it. That time is over. Not for all brands. Some brands will continue doing that, but most brands need to carefully listen to the consumer and the purchase behavior and really develop the brand and the designs according to the needs of the markets. So stay close to your distributor, stay close to your retailer, and stay closer to your consumer. Then you can really adapt your company and your brand and your product. Yeah, there's a huge gap. That it comes from a part of a history of the brand and the watchmaking. Basically the watchmaking is quite conservative. It's very production oriented and not really digital oriented also. So you have two problems. You have one is the production, the concept, the designs. That comes from the production side and the concept side, and you have one where the consumer starts to really behave from a young age only digital. He starts to connect only via digital and digitalization, where you start to see a misalignment. Because an old-fashioned ad doesn't work anymore to connect with a younger target group. They look at YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, everything, and they see brands coming up that we don't even know. So if you want to start educate that younger target group, you need to adapt and really connect early in a younger age with your brand. And you cannot do that with just a product, you need to do it with an appealing product for them. I think it's a potential threat. On the other hand, it also shakes up the industry. What I like. I think disruption is good for any industry. It forces brands to really step out of their comfort zone and to adapt. And finally, we will all get better from that. So I really embrace these kind of initiatives. And I'm really thinking that we all get better from it to be challenged. Yeah, so that phrase comes really from the fact that many managers, many directors, they really aim, or they constantly point out what people do wrong. And I strongly believe that you need to constantly smile when it's challenging, and you need to support and look at the opportunity you have together and really embrace the things that can go well, instead of pointing out that things go bad. And I see in the industry that many CEOs are always shouting on the people and people mistreating the people with disrespect. And I think that time is over. You need to do it together, and you need to motivate each other, and you better focus on the things that go well for the persons, and smile when we need to smile, and support them to really let them grow. And this, for me, is a very important phrase. I think the most important part when I show you a watch is that the eye for detail we have. So we have been for 30 years long aiming for and give access to a large group to luxury. So the accessible luxury strategy really worked for 30 years. But we have been developing the brand much more luxurious even for still an accessible price. Now, the latest product I cannot show you on the camera because it's still very confidential. But if I'm going to show you that, you will see right away the high finishing. and you will be amazed about the price. So probably if I show you the watch, you're already falling in love, and then if I tell you the price, then I will sell you the watch.